Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Tuesday, March 25th. Before I get started, I just want to let you, I know that, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I had quite a few comments yesterday, at least, for me, a few, and I have not responded to them. I didn't forget, I just, juggling a lot, and so just finished watching Beyond the Gates. I'm doing this video, and then I'm going to make dinner, and then I don't know why I'm pointing at like my oven, like you guys know. And then after I make dinner, I am not even going to eat dinner. I'm going to watch General Hospital and take my notes, and then I will upload that video, and then after that I'll probably eat my dinner and respond to you guys' comments. So it will definitely happen before I go to bed. I'm so sorry for the delay. I promise I have not changed and all of a sudden taking people for granted. I know you don't have to watch my videos, you don't have to like anything, you don't have to comment, and the fact that you take the time to do, I will do my best to always show you that gratitude and respond, because I really do appreciate it. Watching the shows are fun, making the videos are fun, but also like hearing you all respond to what I said and me be able to respond back is the biggest part of it all. So I appreciate you so much. Okay, so we start with Chelsea is arriving at her grandmother Anita's. Anita is surprised that she isn't busy preparing for the fashion show. Chelsea shows her on her tablet. She shows her a bag, and Anita is just very flattering of it. Says it's obviously couture, but I don't recognize the designer. And Chelsea explains that it's hers. And she also talks about her business, how the business plan with Kat, how it came about. She says she doesn't want to appear ungrateful, but behind the scenes of all the fashion, she fell in love with the how the clothes came together, how things were done, and that's what she's passionate about now. Anita says she can relate in a sense. She talks about how her mother reacted when she said she wanted to go on tour with the girls instead of doing what was expected of her, so that she will support her because she is another Dupree woman who is blazing her own path. Even if Danny has a hard time, and I wrote that Anita is a great grandmother, not like a great grandmother, but a good grandmother to her granddaughters. We just saw her yesterday have a similar conversation encouraging Naomi, and I like that we got to see those days back to back. It just helps with shows family dynamic, and I really do appreciate that. I thought it was very sweet, very touching. It reminds me of my grandmother, of course. May she rest in peace. My daughter's named after my grandmother, actually. Okay, so Danny is at the club for breakfast. The waiter offers Danny an elderberry alcoholic beverage, and to Danny's credit, she said, no, just some orange juice, but immediately changes her mind and says, just a splash of vodka. And judging by what we see later, it's more than a splash of vodka. Danny's on the phone with Pamela and explaining that while she's grateful for all of her help when Danny had broken into Bill and Haley's, that she didn't get away with it, that Haley actually had confronted her, broke a picture frame of hers, and she was a little shook by it. She said she didn't call Pamela for support because she found a very muscular shoulder to cry on. And I was confused because I saw that she called Andre. And no disrespect to Andre, but those aren't really what I think of when I think of muscular shoulders. That is kind of shady. I'm sorry, Andre. But what? Like, I could see if he had, like, but I'm not seeing it. But he's still very handsome, and he is serving his purpose for Danny. One second, guys. Vernon comes to join Danny, but she has to go for her meeting, so she walks off, and that's when the waiter brings the orange juice and vodka. And Vernon's like, oh, I'll just take a sip, because he was going to drink it since Danny wasn't there. He tastes the alcohol in it, sets it back down. Danny doesn't see that. She comes back to grab her drink because she forgot her drink. When she had just came back for the orange juice? Probably not. But she wanted that morning liquor. You know it's bad when you're drinking. It's bad enough drinking in the daytime, but in the morning, that's no. Well, I guess I'm judging a little bit, but you know, I've been young before, been there, done that. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it at the age she's at. I can't do it now. Not that she's that much older than me. She looked much younger. Um, Also, before Danny left, Vernon had told her when he first got there that he wanted to talk to her about Bill and Haley. She was like, "Who?" He was a little chuckle. Vernon said he would never forgive Bill for what he put Danny through. Um, that being said, she's been a handful, but she's his handful, and it was a weird kind of back and forth for a minute for me, but it ended well, with the exception of Danny with the juice and vodka. I wish it was gin so I could say gin and juice. That flows better. We see Martin having, he's not asleep. I don't know if he was daydreaming or just like, well, daydreaming. Lost in thought. He was having flashes of memory, but we can't really make out what it is. And there's a noise, and I wasn't sure if it was gunshots or not, or just like a loud noise. I was going to rewind, but I hate rewinding on these apps. I was watching on a CBS app, and didn't want to rewind because sometimes that'll trigger like an ad, and there's enough ads without adding more ads because that adds more time. Smitty comes in, checks on Martin. Martin says he's just tired, he's frustrated, can't get the numbers in the bill he's working on to work. Smitty reminds Martin that their kids are growing up fast, that he's missing out on the key details and moments. And the way Martin responds to him makes Smitty say, "Sounds like you're trying to run for a higher office. Like you should be kind of content. You're good." And that's when I realized, oh, so Martin blocked Smitty. Like, remember at the Nicole's event, somebody was ready to offer Smitty a job, and Martin shot that shit down and didn't even tell Smitty about it. So he could do all that, but he doesn't tell Smitty that that's what he wants to pursue for his own self. And I guess I should have known that because of the character that Martin has shown himself to be, but I was a little taken aback. Like, I don't see any redeeming goodness in that man whatsoever. Again, Smitty is saying that Martin doesn't pay enough attention to the kids. And then Martin twists it around and uses that the kids need both parents to say that that's why Smitty shouldn't go back to work. It was so selfish and manipulative. Like, he's really not a good guy. I feel no sympathy or empathy for Martin whatsoever. I feel afraid for anyone around Martin because I feel like he's already abusive emotionally and mentally, but I can see him someone who's just like a trigger away from turning into physical violence because, you know, I've known those type of men. I think a lot of us have, and not to just say men, but that's my experience. It always escalates. It just gets worse. And maybe if he was to get some help, but it doesn't seem like he even thinks there's anything wrong with him by the way that he acts even later on. But Martin gets a call from Vernon and makes an excuse of why he can't come to the club. And Vernon was like, "This is not a request. We'll see you when you get here." And I just said, poor Smitty. Martin has left his phone. Smitty realizes that, so he goes to take it to him. Then we see Anita and Vernon they're again having the same conversation, warning Martin of how dangerous it could be, how explosive his secret is, that people know his secret, and at least one of those people can't be trusted. I'm thinking that's Bill, because Bill is, threatened them. That's why I assume this is the secret where they made the whole family go to the wedding, and that backfired, pun intended, like fire or gunshots. Sorry, I know that was a bad one, but I had to make at least one corny joke, guys. Forgive me. Oh, and that made me think, is Bill going to use that against Naomi? Because I know I haven't gotten to Naomi yet, but you guys already saw the show. Knowing that Naomi is going to have a case against Bill, I wonder if Bill is going to use that secret to, again, blackmail Vernon and Anita to convince Naomi to drop the case. Because she's not going to do that. They would have to expose whatever happened, because she seems a very set in her morals and ideals, and she wants to do the right thing. I like that about her character. Martin is going back and forth with Ron and Anita. They're telling him again all the reasons why he can't do this, just warning him how dangerous it is. And Martin, he had the nerve to say, "I have a dream." I stopped. I was like, didn't want to pause the TV because I was scared ads were gonna pop up, but I paused it because I just needed a minute to take that in. This is not disrespectful to Martin Luther King Jr., right? But I feel like he shouldn't have said that. It annoyed me, and it may be because I'm predisposed to being annoyed today. I don't know. Did y'all roll y'all's eyes at that? Did you cringe? I did. And he got up from the table, and in the background, Smitty came in and overheard about him running for president. And I was waiting for Smitty to walk in, but you know he's cool, calm, and collected, so he went back home. He was like, "We'll do this in private." But yeah, Martin is just gaslighting them and acts like they are just trying to hold him back and keep him down, and they don't want him to succeed. They don't believe in him, and that's not what they said. And that's again, like I see the narcissist in him. I see the abusive person in him. We know he's probably already hurt somebody. He's gonna hurt more people, and the people who are gonna get them hurt the most are what Anita and Vernon said, Smitty and those kids. It seems like it could all be avoided, but he's so selfish and like so egotistical. And after that, when it's just Anita and Vernon sitting at the table, they're both, forlorn and like, yeah, that the side, like they don't know what to do. They're worried, and they take a sip of their coffee, and they both pick their cups up and drop their cups in unison. And I know this wasn't what that scene was about, but they were just so sweet. They're just so cute together. Like we should all be so lucky to be able to have like your person. I know it's a soap opera, so it probably won't last, but I would love for it to at least give me a year. At least give me this first year of them being like in unison, because it's encouraging. It's hard out here. As a single woman, I'm say, that seems like a distant fantasy, but it's nice to see it, especially with melanin on the TV. So I hope they don't destroy them too soon. Please, Beyond the Gates writers, give us more time with Anita and Vernon. Smitty Martin goes back home for the phone, is looking for the phone. Smitty walks in behind him, was like, "Oh, this phone?" And then he confronts him about running for president, and basically said what I said earlier about crushing his dreams, but is lying about his own. And I know that's, well, nothing I say is verbatim. You guys know I will just tell you my interpretation of what was said. We see Tomas, I always want to call him Thomas, is Bold and the Beautiful's fault. Tomas and Bill are at work, and Mike is there. Mike is the person that needs to be sued. He makes a dirty joke. I don't remember what it was. I kind of blacked out for that part. Ladies, we can do that. Like if we need to, just to, because, or it's part of being a woman. That experience, you have to kind of just ignore those things, because you can't fight every battle, So even though it's a show, that's kind of what I did, my natural response. But to his credit, Bill does look annoyed, and he cuts him off. And that's when they say another modern day term that Beyond the Gates throws in, not NSFW, which they explain is not safe for work. Mike said, "Oh, it's just a joke." And I wonder how it's gotten this far. Like, this does not seem like Mike just woke up and started being like this. And we know from the women that are meeting with Naomi to sue that this is a pattern of behavior. So I don't know why Bill is only now kind of interfering. Well, maybe we do, because we see that they go back and forth bantering a little bit, and basically Mike is just saying how harmless it is. It's not his fault. There's so many beautiful women at the office that test him, like Haley. And that's when Bill is like, "Oh, you're not going to talk about my wife." That's the only time I've ever agreed with Bill. He should stand up for his wife. And I think that's what the difference is. That Mike is starting to make comments about Haley, so Bill is actually seeing it. He probably just overlooked everything before, because boys will be boys, even when they're men. Y'all, I don't hate men. I promise I don't. I'm just, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I hit my phone and it took me out of order. Give me 1 second. Okay, so Bill is trying to, put Mike in his place. As he doesn't want to hear rumors on the blind items about what's going on there. And another little modern day detail Beyond Gates puts in that I appreciate, makes it feel very authentic as you can feel for a soap opera. But he does threaten him. Bill does threaten Mike about Haley, which I support. Mike says Bill is being too sensitive, that he's coming across like a HR conference or training or something. And even goes as far as to say Bill is a hypocrite because he fell in love for his new wife at the office. But Bill's adamant, so Mike kind of backs off. After it's just Tomas and Bill kind of makes excuses and tells Tomas that if Bill wasn't so good in court, if he hadn't won so many cases, that he would buy him out. Then Bill talks to Tomas about Naomi and Chelsea and how much he misses them and wants to reconnect with them before it's too late. Too much time is going by. Tomas is surprised that Naomi didn't join the firm as a partner. You know how law offices do. It'd be like generations, like I don't even know, Hamilton, Bill Hamilton. So like Hamilton and Hamilton and Hamilton, Hamilton and Sons, or Hamilton, etc., or whatever. But he asked, Tomas asked Bill why Naomi didn't join, like leading up to this. And Bill evades the question, and then I'm right back to being annoyed at Bill. He doesn't answer the question. And I think we know the answer to the question of why Naomi kind of was already disillusioned with Bill before even with Haley, because we know that Bill's cheated on Danny over and over. And it's easy to hide things from kids when they're younger, but once they get older, they see everything. Especially you got adult kids. They knew what he was doing, what he was putting their mother through. And especially like being a woman, seeing that, you take that to heart. So we see Naomi. She's at the diner. She's meeting with the ladies, and they say, your services are no longer needed. And Naomi's like, nah, I want this job. I'm the person for it. And they ask if she can really be a shark, if she can really go up against her dad like that. And she's like, yes, I can and I will. But she cautions them and lets them know that their personal lives, their social media, everything is going to be on display for the world. That it shouldn't be that way for the victim to be unsafe, but that's what's going to happen. So as much as they can, kind of get their house in order, and more so just be prepared for the fallout. She explains that because she's suing the law firm and Bill is a partner in the law firm, he will be a defendant. She just breaks down those charges. She pulls out the paperwork. She's already drawn up the complaint. She just needs a verbal confirmation that they want her to proceed. And it's yes. The last lady was like, are you sure? It's not just about money. We want justice. So yes. Naomi tells him she's taking it on the contingency that the only way Naomi gets paid is if they win, what she says they will. So Naomi goes to Bill to serve him, and I was surprised for a second because I was like, I didn't think lawyers served. I thought they had process servers for that. But then once we see the scene, Naomi does go to Bill's office. She walks in on him being on the phone with Haley, telling Haley how much he loves her. Haley is called to get his permission for some furniture to buy, and he's like, you don't have to give my permission. That's why I gave you the card. So credit to Haley, I guess, for not just going crazy with the card. But yeah, Naomi walks in on that, hears that, and Bill immediately goes into, oh, you must have got my text. I want to reconcile. I miss you and your sister. We got to make this right. And Naomi says, I believe that you love us, that you want to make it right. But I also believe you when you said that you love Haley just now. He's like, yeah, that's my wife. Of course I love her. But the love is different than the love for you. Duh. Should hope so, Bill. Then Tomas interrupts, and that's when we see the process server come in and tell Bill that he's served. He doesn't put two and two together until he opens it up and look at it. And he seems to be hurt. He's like, I thought you came here to reconcile. You came here to sue me? I'm out of order. So I know I already talked about Anita and Vernon and their conversation with Martin, but Vernon is at the table. This is earlier. Vernon was at the table by himself, and Anita joined him, and she asked how Danny was, He says she's better. Anita's kind of picking to see like if he thinks Danny will be open and receptive to Chelsea's idea. Vernon seems proud of Chelsea, that like she has thought her plans out, and wishes that Martin would do the same instead of being so impulsive. And I think that's when Vernon confirmed to Anita that what Martin wanted to do running for president. And the two of them talk about how they talked about Martin leaving politics, period, when all of this began. Question mark, question mark, question mark. They would be under scrutiny, devastating secret. Yeah, and that's all stuff I said earlier. Sorry that I got that out of order, guys. So we see Danny having her meeting. I'm pretty sure she's still at the club, just in another area of the club. I don't know. I think those people I don't know if they're influencers or like brand people, marketing people, or reporters. I missed that. But they are praising Danny and her performance at the wedding. Said, you shot your way into our hearts. I was like, okay, that's kind of crass, but it's 2025. I don't know what people think half the time. Said her taking out the flowers was fierce. Danny says she does regret it. Like she said at the press conference, she regrets her action, but she's intrigued by their perspective and wants to hear more about their thoughts for the marketing. Chelsea arrives during the meeting. I liked how they did that scene because she was kind of hearing everything, and you could kind of see like the light going out of her eyes, and they like muffled the audio, so you could tell that like she was just in her head and like miserable. Then it's Chelsea and just Danny, and Chelsea's just praising her mom and telling Danny how happy she is. She has her life back. And Danny was like, now it's your turn. I know how important it is for you to have your name on something. Chelsea's like, oh my God, you know? I'm like, girl, you know she don't know. But she got her hopes up. And then Danny pulls out a contract from the fashion show people that is basically locking Chelsea in for the next 3 years. Danny is presenting as if it's a good thing because she's guaranteed to be the face, a good amount of money, all of that. But for Chelsea, you know, it feels like clink clink, like shackles, handcuffs. Yeah, and I didn't write this here, but I know that after that, Chelsea did tell Danny that modeling isn't for me. And then I think that was the cliffhanger. I think that's where it cut off. I may be wrong, but that actually makes sense. If that was the end of the show, and then that's why I didn't put my note down. Or I might have just been so into seeing what Smitty was going to do when Mine got home. That may have been the end. I think they were back to back. All right, 22 minutes. Thank you, guys. I think it was a good episode. But I rarely don't like an episode of Beyond the Gates. There have been episodes where what I wanted to happen didn't happen, or I was disappointed. But when I reflect on it, I tend to be pleased. I think because it's still a brand new show, and it's a soap opera, so you have to drag some things out. But overall, I'm pretty happy with their pacing and the storytelling. I probably say this every day, but I'm really enjoying getting to know those characters. So we can grow with them and learn them, and I can't wait to see their arcs. It's a soap. On a soap, the character, and even any show, a character will start one way, and then at the end of the season, or after a year or so, they've had a complete arc and are like the exact opposite, or have been through something. So I am just, every episode, I'm taking it in, processing everything, and just really excited and anticipatory of where these characters will go, and what their story will be. And I like to go back and watch old episodes of things just to like marvel at the arc. So I hope CBS keeps these episodes up on the app so that in 6 months, when Danny's fresh out of rehab and actually taking back her life, I can go back and see her passed out on the floor, or we'll understand why Dag burns down Ashley's house because she messed with Andre. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't want that to happen. I like Derek. All right, guys. I'm just rambling now. I don't know why. I think I don't want to stop. But I have to stop because it's 7:30 and I got to make dinner and get everything else done. So thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, all the things. I appreciate you. Live long and prosper.